I can not find a TV job because I do not have as much experience as everyone else who is doing it longer than me. Hey everyone, Zillennial Nexus here, and today I wanted to read and react to this article titled Why Success is Quieter for Younger Americans by Claire Ansberry for the Wall Street Journal. You can see the three younger Americans here: Marcus Whitaker, Rachel Beck, and Cole Smith. Now, I think you've seen all the memes out there. Success is quiet, wealth is quiet, because most wealthy people don't actually go around driving the Bugattis or the other fancy sports cars like Andrew Tate does, even though he is like, well, of course the rich people are buying the yachts and the sports cars. How else do they get made? Well, frankly, yes, the wealthier people probably do actually do that because that's how they make more money. They don't, or rather, they stretch their money. Like, for example, I suspect that the reason that my cousin, who was about my age, was actually able to buy a house was because he doesn't have any streaming services. Said something about along those lines. Don't quote me on that because I only suspect that. I don't know for sure. Anyway, before I get into the article and find out how quiet their success is, well, it's not really quiet anymore because it's being broadcast in the Wall Street Journal. Be sure to give this video a like, comment whether you think success is quiet like that or if it's a lot more obvious, like if it shows. And subscribe for daily videos. Oh, and give this video a like. On with the article. Younger adults are redefining success and shifting their focus from wealth to health. It's not that young people don't care about money, but they don't necessarily care about getting rich, or status either. Yeah, I can agree with that. Jack Morgan says something about how a man with no bills is a rich man. Because if you add on more bills, then yeah, it's going to drain your bank account. While in college, Cole Smith, 27, aspired to be someone at the top of the data analytics field, even if it meant working 80 hours a week. Now he's not sure it's worth it. I worried about being 40 or 50 and not having any interests outside of work, says Smith, who with his older brother co-founded Visor, an online car shopping site. Smith, who loves to run and spend time with his fiancée, says his priorities have shifted and that success is about having a more holistic life. Yeah, success is not just making money alone. That's actually something I keep on trying to have to explain to my mother, Gen X. She's Gen X. And I keep on having to explain that making money is not the only thing that matters in life. Like, time. I have more time to do this because I only work 2 days a week at the instant gratification job. Sometimes just one. And I also like having the time to put together meals properly, though feeling cramped in the kitchen lately, I have been considering switching to things that I can prepare more easily so that I don't have to spend as much time in the kitchen. But that's a topic for another day. And I also like having the time to enjoy my video games. I don't play a ton like I used to. Sometimes I'll take a day off from YouTube stuff to play a bunch. Like last night, I only got in, what, hour and a half? I need to look at my calendar. Hour and 15 minutes is what I got in for my play session of Let's Go Eevee last night. Because I spent all day editing and then, yeah, you get the idea. Anyway, let's get back to the article before I go too far off topic. Wealth, status, and occupation are no longer the gold standard when it comes to defining success for adults who have yet to reach middle age. Instead, young Americans rank physical and mental health as the top measure of success. Wealth came in fifth, according to a recent survey of adults aged 18 to 34. This represents a generational shift, says Marcy Merriman, managing director of Global Cultural Insights at Ernst & Young, who co-wrote a global study about adulthood. Those surveyed grew up with the internet and social media and have more access to information and lifestyles than previous generations. They scroll through feeds, listen to podcasts, and watch videos to see how other people are succeeding or failing before they reach middle age, typically defined as ages 40 to 60. Yeah, that's the power of the internet. We can see how other people are doing and we can learn from them, whether it's what not to do based on what they did or what to do based on what they did. So, if you want to learn something from this channel here right now, do not go to college unless you know exactly what you want to do and will actually follow the game plan. And of course, choosing something that will make you money if you can so you can pay back any loans, or you may otherwise end up not being able to get it, or you'll have a more uphill battle like me if you choose to pivot to something at the last minute. You gotta have been doing it for quite some time, and not just in the way that Tim Pool described how what you're doing at 13 is what you are being trained to do for the rest of your life. Getting back to the article, lessons learned. Giving priority to physical and mental health reflects what they have learned and experienced. COVID reminded millennials and Gen Z adults of the fleeting nature of good health and spurred a mass work from home movement. This opened their eyes to other, less stressful options and measures of success, says Zach Deichwald, 35, who researches global generational shifts and cross geography collaboration and is co author of the study. And there's a picture of him. I think that's him. No, I think that's about someone who's coming up later. This particular age group of younger American adults is also watching parents and grandparents age and deal with chronic illnesses, often tied to poor diet and physical inactivity. I thought it was the other way around. In Chuck Norris's book Black Belt Patriotism, he said that younger Americans were more likely to be outlived by the older Americans because of more sedentary lifestyles and garbage in the food supply. Yeah, you let me know in the comments down below which you think is more likely. Because, again, that book was written in 2008, so perhaps it's changed since then. Maybe with the introduction of with Whole Foods becoming all the rage these days, maybe that's changed. I don't know. Getting back to the article, This particular group of younger American adults is also watching parents and grandparents age and deal with chronic illnesses often tied to poor diet and physical inactivity. Health is a success in and of itself, says Deichwald, who says there are still plenty of people his age who want to be at the top of law firms and investment banks and see that as success. Some people found status and wealth early in their career, but not satisfaction or joy. When she was in her early 20s, Natalie Armendariz, pictured here, researched high paying jobs such as anesthesiologist, but followed her desire to work in the creative field, landing her an internship at an advertising agency. Her goal? Creative director. She and her now husband, also in design, moved to New York, where she followed industry advice of switching from one agency to another and getting promotions. Longer hours and salary increases came with each. She had high-profile clients, which made her feel that she was a success, but the achievement felt hollow. She was exhausted. There was no time to enjoy anything. It was work, 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 she says. Finally, the couple returned to their Texas roots and started Fun Size, a small digital design agency with 19 employees. They now have a 6-year-old and close their agency for a week every quarter to regroup and reset. Success is quieter. It's not flashy titles and salaries, says Armendariz, 40. It's how I feel about the things I am doing, how much time I have to spend with my family. Yeah, I bet that's another thing that the millennials and Gen Z and zillennials like myself realized matter more than that time. It's like Ben Franklin said, lost time is never found. And it's true. Trust me, I know because I cannot find the time I could have used to focus on one particular thing, or I can't find the time to, I don't know, do the TV concentration at my college from the very start of college instead of spending all that time kind of just wandering around. And then senior year, oh, I'm going to do the TV concentration. I do it all in that 1 year. I cannot find a TV job because I do not have as much experience as everyone else who is doing it longer than me. Learn that lesson from this channel, everyone who's watching. If you're among the, I forget what percent is the 18 to 24 for my audience. I'm just going to take a quick peek. But yeah, learn from this. If you're a bit on the older side, maybe take this as your sign to lock in. I didn't lock in when I was younger. Look what happened. Well, I'd say I still have it pretty good for the most part. I'm very fortunate to have the option to live at home. I have to say that I will say that much. All right, if you are among the 14.3% of my audience who is in the 18 to 24 demographic, heed my warning about college, whether you're starting this fall or if you're going to start applying this fall. Do not go unless you know exactly what you want to do and have a game plan to complete everything early if you can, like my cousin who graduated a year early, which, trust me, is probably a good idea in general because he was on track to graduate originally in 2020, but he graduated in 2019 and actually got to walk the commencement that year instead of having to do a virtual one like my sister who graduated in 2020. Obviously, as I've mentioned in the past, I'm going to mention again, I did not walk my commencement because I didn't like the choice of venue and I didn't really feel invested in it in general. So if you feel that strongly about it, I would say that working to graduate early might not be a bad idea, but I digress. Anyway, for the majority of you who are 25 to 34, I would say just start doing something while you still have time. Before you get too old for your brain to learn anything new, or do what Tim Pool said. Think about what you were doing when you were 13 and try and transfer that into something profitable, or at least on a path to be profitable later. Getting back to the article, Homeward Bound. Defining success often involves asking and answering tough questions. Rachel Beck thought success meant getting married and leaving her small hometown of Du Bois, I'm guessing that's Indianapolis, population 400, which she did in her 20s. She and her then husband moved to New York City, where she worked in public schools as an educator and counselor. When her marriage ended, Beck bought an apartment in Manhattan, the epitome of success in her eyes, and started traveling the world running marathons. Then the pandemic hit. Her friends moved. Her position was eliminated. An injury ended her marathons. I thought, why am I still here? Returning home, she realized, would feel and look like failure. But when her parents began having health problems, she knew it was more important to be with them. My definition of success slowly changed, says Beck, now 45. I thought that she was a bit younger. I guess that must have been in the 2000s when she moved to New York City. When she left her small town. It's more personal, she says, and less about others' expectations and meeting traditional milestones like getting married and having kids. She deals blackjack at a resort and works part-time at a local distillery run by a young distiller passionate about his craft. She started a podcast titled The Feisty Heroine for women who are happily single. She has connected with women around the world and is traveling to Albania this fall to visit one. Beck is glad she made the move, even though her hometown, while lovely and peaceful, is small and homogeneous. She misses New York's food scene. She still has her Manhattan apartment, which she rents out. A big advantage that millennials and Gen Z adults have in being socially connected and informed is that they can draw lessons from older adults at an earlier age. Social media ha- No, that's not the right voice. Social media has transmitted life lessons that boomers learned at the end of their careers about what matters, says Deichtwald. Warren Devarens, 37, remembers watching an online interview with a CEO who said, "Success is when your children want to spend time with you when they are adults." The message struck for the young father of three, sales account executive and co-founder of Dadgood, a private community for dads, who had expected the CEO to talk about lofty sales and earnings. Instead of being monetarily rich, which he once desired, Devarens wants to be a good dad and have enough money to feel secure and take his family to the beach for a week. For him, physical and mental health co- comes first among five measures of success, followed by relationships with spouse, relationship with family, and personal growth. Wealth comes last, but will naturally follow, he believes. Even if it doesn't, Devarnin said. It still sounds like a pretty fulfilling life. Yeah, I just realized the best way to describe it. Money is a tool to get you things you need to survive. So, yeah, money isn't everything. My abnormal psychology teacher used to say that money can buy you happiness to an extent, which I think is more about peace of mind because, yes, money can get you the health insurance you need so that you don't have to worry about a large medical bill, or if you have the money, then that medical bill isn't going to be a problem. If you have the money, you can buy a house, which you can use to live in with peace of mind, store your stuff, and more importantly, have your family in one place. But yeah, aside from that, money can't buy a good relationship. It can certainly ease some tensions. It can certainly make it easier to do things. But, like, what was her name again? Sorry, I have to. But like Natalie Armendariz said, something about the. But Armendariz said, like Natalie Armendariz said earlier in the article about how she had no time to enjoy anything. Yeah, at a certain point, if you spend too much time working, what's the point if you're not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor? If you work 80 hours a week, how are you going to. Now, working 80 hours a week is good for like a week or two, or maybe a month at most if you want to sit down and grind for the sake of getting ahead, making sure you have what you need. But if you do that for too long a period of time, then it's going to destroy you physically and mentally, and you're not going to be able to enjoy it. Just like if you wait till you retire to travel and explore and do other things, you might not be able to enjoy it, whether it's cognitive decline or you're literally physically not capable of doing what it is you wanted to do. They're not completely wrong that money can be restored, but time can't. I speak from experience because I did the video about how I restored my bank account after draining it down to a double digit amount to cover the cost of my wisdom tooth extraction. But yeah, on that note, I think I'm going to leave it here for the video. You let me know in the comments down below whether you agree with me that money is a useful tool for getting peace of mind, or which you think is more important, time or money. If you agree with all of these quiet signs of success, give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos. I will see you soon.